Time, your all things automotive car talk show. Coming up this hour on our 2-hour show, we visit with the Dean of the Houston Community College Automotive Department. We'll also have new vehicle reviews of the Fiat 500X and the Buick Avenir. We'll also have this week's automotive news, the Mystery Garage, and Conrad's Car Clinic. That more, all just ahead on the In Wheel Time Car Show for Saturday, August 22nd, 2020. Hurricane weekend.
Yeah, exactly.
Howdy, along with Mike out of this world Mars down there. And King Conrad DeLong over here is playing his radio. I'm Don Armstrong. Glad that you could join us today. It's always an interesting Saturday when we all get together. It's kind of like that clubhouse meeting that you used to have when you were a kid.
Yeah, Spanky and Alfalfa, Farina.
And I would imagine that there are probably a few of our viewers, listeners, that don't have any clue who that is. And then the majority of them are probably living that today with us. But whatever the case may be, we've got a full show coming up today. This week, the big news was that Ram Trucks has made it perfectly clear that, yes, they are going to produce a truck called the Ram TRX, 702 horsepower Hellcat motor in it. That was big news, and we're going to have that story coming up a little bit later on. There's a lot of other automotive news as well. But the big news today, around these parts anyway, is we're all waiting and preparing for a double dip of weather coming up this week, supposedly on Tuesday.
2020.
Let's see.
What could else go wrong?
Oh, God, don't say that.
Yeah, let me count the ways.
Don't make this an internet challenge.
Who knows? Studio A might not even be here next week at this time.
Oh, yes, it will.
You think?
Yes.
It won't be blown away?
No,
it's not going to be all that. But at any rate, if you're within earshot of this show, you might want to pay attention to the weather for the next few days, just maybe a skosh.
Just a little.
All right, so let's start things off with our guest right now is David Vogel. He is the Dean of the Houston Community College Automotive Department. And David, it's great to see you, great to talk to you. It's been a while, and I see that you're all kicked back and looking sharp. Looks like you got the razor out earlier today and all prepared for the In Wheel Time show.
Yeah, sitting at home, you know, I'm not going to show you below my shirt.
That's fine. You won't see ours either.
We heard that you have some difficulty with pants now and then, but that's another day, another show. But hey, it's great to talk to you. And one of the things that obviously, as Dean of Automotive at HCC, for those that don't live in the Houston area, Houston Community College, and they have campuses all over the area. And you focus mainly on automotive stuff, but I wanted to talk to you today on several points. The biggest one is, how is COVID-19 affecting you, HCC, your department, recruiting guys that want to get in the automotive department? How's all that working out for you?
Well, we've come up with 4 different modalities for the college itself. What they have is online anytime a student can sign up. And these are for academic classes and other classes. You know, the hands-on classes, we have a face-to-face, but we're going online. And the official statement is online till October 5th. And then we're going to go back to the class face-to-face. So we're running smaller classes, but offering more sections. But it's still because it still affects the instructor's time that they're with students, that it is hurting enrollment, but we seem to be able to be pleasing any students that want to sign up right now.
Well, and the tough thing is it's hard to be in automotive instructional school without some hands-on. There's always some book work to do that you can do online. There's communication that you can do with the instructor, but at some point, you got to go touch a car, turn a wrench, and make something happen.
Correct. And what we did is we bought, I don't know if you all heard of this, but it's called AVI On Demand. It's a training website where the instructors that actually write the books do live lectures, and they do demonstrations with video. So we've purchased that, and that's accessible to the students and the instructors to kind of just help the instructors, because sitting at home and you don't have a shop and you didn't already have this pre-recorded, it's hard to get it done. So we purchased that to help the instructors and the students, and it is NATEF certified, ASC certified. So we are meeting our NATEF requirements for teaching class.
David, let me ask a question here, pardon my ignorance, but how much does it cost to take a semester of automotive at HCC?
Well, if you're in district, it's about $1,000 for 4 classes. That's 12 hours. If you're out of district, it's about $1,700, and out of state, it's about $1,900.
So, which is really a value when you consider what some of the other programs are that are nationwide. I mean, HCC is quite a value.
Well, let me ask you, where did you get your degree?
I got my degree from Oklahoma State University in automotive power technology back in 1978.
Okay, and I mean, you had to take the whole full 4 years?
Yeah, well, I did it in 3, but yeah.
Yeah, of course you did it in 3.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. He's bragging again. Yeah, but
excuse us.
yeah,
But of course, I have a BS degree.
We know that. Yeah.
we already know that.
Without saying, that goes.
But, David and I go back quite a ways, and I've been out to the facility. I've done some training out at the facility. And the facility there at Airline and 45 is the one that they've had for a long time. But you guys just recently built, about 2 years ago, built a brand new facility. Tell us a little bit about that, because aren't you going to move a majority of your automotive program out to the new facility?
So the new facility is on Little York, East Little York, and Homestead. It's in the North Forest area. It's off 59, about 3 blocks. If you exit 59, get to Little York, make a right, it's about 3 blocks off. And yes, it's 35,000 square feet.
Holy cow.
There is we have a maintenance and light repair program there where you can do the first 2 semesters there, and it's air conditioned, everything's state of the art, brand new, and you can get a maintenance and light repair certificate, level 1 certificate. If you choose to stay on, you can come back to ATTC and you take the engine repair, the transmissions, the manual transmissions, the advanced level, engine performance, and you get your full automotive technology certificate. And then if you go on from there, you take one other class, which is engine repair. Not engine. We have engine R&R for the certificate, and then engine repair for the associate degree. And then you take your academics, and you can get an associate degree. So
if I want to build race engines for a living, what courses do I need to take, and what kind of degree will I get after I take them?
Right. So the way we do our program is we started off from introduction to automotive service, and that's where Conrad comes in a lot, because we invite him to the school because we have all BG equipment, and he likes to do demonstrations on showing students how to use all the equipment.
Yeah.
And then we go to brakes and suspension, and then we go into electrical, air conditioning, advanced electrical, and engine performance 1. Then you get into rebuilding engines. So if you come, we always let students sign up. If they've already got experience and they want to learn just one thing, and we have room, we'll let a student sign up for just 1 or 2 classes if that's what they want to learn. We don't have a problem with that.
But one of the great things about HCC is their program is designed to feed the industry technicians. It's not necessarily specific to building race engines. They have bits and pieces of that you can do within there. But HCC also has a relationship with ASA, the Automotive Service Association here in town. So they are trying to provide technician, and I'm going to say C-level technicians to the industry that are ready to go to work at a shop right as soon as they come out of the program.
Okay, so let me go through this scenario. Okay, I'm 18 years old. I've just graduated from high school. I want to go into automotive. I am a computer nerd nut.
You have to
And-
be today.
And I want to actually focus on the computer aspect of an automobile. Obviously, I have to have a general working knowledge of those things that you brought up that you offer in I guess, semester one. But I really want to focus on the computer aspect of it because, let's face it, a car doesn't even run without a computer these days. So what would I do to really focus in on that? So when I go to the dealership to work when I graduate with a degree, I can put on my white shirt and go to the service department with my laptop, and I can be the hero of the entire dealership.
Well, what we have is, again, the AV on demand. It has a place on there where it's got tools and equipment, and they actually do demonstrations on every scan tool that's in the market right now.
And
And they go through everything, reading PID data, anything that scan tool can do, they cover it. And you know how much scan tools cost. We have a lot of them, but we don't have them all. So that way, our students have access to that. We also have Audi training, manufacturer training. So if they want to do Audi, they can take the manufacturing training, which includes all the scan tools that they provide. We also have Subaru University, and they can do that. And then we have Toyota. We partnered with Gulf State Toyota recently, and we have what they call Toyota Techs. But now that is a maintenance certificate they get.
Right.
The Subaru and the Audis are all the way up to advanced. As a matter of fact, Audi just changed their program where if a student comes in and they actually graduate our program and took all the Audi classes, and they get a job at Audi, which we do career fairs, they got to work 3 months with a minimum pay of $15 an hour. Is what Audi said. It's the minimum. They can pay more if they want, but Audi told the dealerships you have to pay at least this much, and then Audi themselves will pay for the travel, the food, the hotel, and the training for the student. So within 6 months of work, they will be an Audi certified.
wow. That's pretty valuable. The other thing is, Don, you talk about becoming the computer expert. Well, in today's automotive industry, that computer expert is going to be not just the engine performance, it's going to be the air conditioning system, it's going to be the brake system, it's going to be the radio, it's going to be the suspension. Everything today is computer controlled. The headlights are computer controlled, the tail lights are computer controlled, and pretty much everything in between. So a computer technician in today's automotive world, you have to have that mindset. But they're going to do a majority of the vehicle because all of the electronics now are basically computer controlled. And that's one of the things that...
Feed onto that, one of the things is that we're looking at is when is it time to start upgrading our curriculum? But when I go talk to the dealerships, they still want entry-level technicians.
Right.
They want to groom them themselves. They don't want people to come in thinking they know everything already. Now, we have a lot to offer so that 1 or 2 or 3 students that, like you talked about, are the computer whizzes and they want to get it, they're going to move much faster.
From your experience, David, these graduates that, depending on what level, clearly, when they're really valuable to a dealership, are the dealerships asking them to sign some sort of an agreement with the dealership? So, because if a dealership has got an investment in the student, they want to get all of the value out of that student that they've helped put through school. So do they sign a contract, say, hey, look, I'll stay with you for 6 months or a year or 2 years? Is there anything like that?
Well, the Step 1 program with BMW has that type of contract with the student. But none of the other ones that we work with don't. So we do have BMW come in once a year and interview our students and hire a few of them. And it's a contract they sign for 2 years. They have to at least stay with that dealer for 2 years. The Audi one, the way they're doing it is they're making the student work 3 months before they put the money into it. And it's the dealership's job to decide if he's worth it. before they go.
And that makes sense because they have to look at, there's a thing about work ethic that, that person, that technician
Correct.
has to prove themselves. And, when David's talking about how Audi will send them to the factory training, you're talking, I'm going to tell you, you're talking tens of thousands of dollars because it's going to be airfare to the facility, it's going to be hotel, plus the physical training that they provide. And when that technician's finished with that, I mean, that's going to be valuable at that dealership as well, because the dealership has to retain a certain level of training, and each technician they bring in at that level of training is worth that much more to the dealership.
So the contract idea kind of works both ways, though. I mean, not only does it provide the dealership with a return on their investment, but the student. Now he comes in, he's got a job for 2 years in one case, so he knows unless he really screws it up, that he can plan his life for 2 years. It's not real uncertain. Like a lot of kids get out of college, they don't know where they're going to get a job. They don't know what's going to happen.
And to have the opportunity to progress within the dealership, starting at maybe an entry-level technician, but moving up into a journeyman-level technician.
There's a future there.
And the more training they get, moving up to the experienced diagnostician. I mean, look at me. I started in a high school VOTEC program, and now I'm on the radio show with you guys.
Well, so your career's gone right down the toilet, hasn't it?
Well, it's 25 years with General Motors. 10 of it as a field engineer assigned to the Bowling Green Assembly Plant. Was lots of fun. And now I just, last week, was 11 years with BG.
Yeah.
So,
David, what would you offer parents of a student that obviously shows some sort of inclination toward the automotive field? He may be working at Discount Tire, but really on the side he's got a hot rod car, maybe 5-10 years old, typical high school students like we all were at one time, interested in cars, and he's in the automotive field already. What are your words of wisdom to him and or his parents?
Well, what I like to tell them is once they finish the first block, which is intro, service, brakes, and suspension, they qualify to go work at a Quick Lane or a Pet Boys or Firestone or something like that, and any type of basic repair, a C-level technician within 16 weeks. I would tell them once you finish your first, he's working at, Discount Tire. It's an hourly job. Actually, that's a good job to have while you're in school. But I would try to advance to something to do a little bit more than just tires. And I tell them all to stay hourly while they're in school, because trying to work commission while you have to leave work to go to school
could be a little difficult.
Make you miss school because you sold a big job.
Right.
So how do we find, David, how do you find out about HCC? Is it hcc.edu?
Yeah, all you got to do is if you go on the website, if you go on Google and just click in HCCS, we're the first website that shows up. You click on it, and then you go into programs. You click on programs and courses, click on public safety and transportation, and then you'll see automotive, which includes a body shop course. And then we have heavy vehicle, diesel, and industrial technology. That'll be at the bottom portion of it. You click on that and it shows all the degree choices. It gives you all the phone numbers. It gives you everything you need. Or you just, you can Google HCC Automotive and it's going to take you right to the website.
David, you're our champ. We thank you so much for joining us today. David Vogel, head of Houston Community College Automotive Department. Thanks again. We appreciate your time and we'll hope to see you again soon. All right. Thank you very much. Just ahead, we're going to review the Fiat 500X. Okay? Be sure and join us each and every Saturday for our live show, 10 a.m. to noon, on our website, InWheelTime.com, Facebook, and YouTube. And you can catch our podcasts on your favorite podcast channel. In Wheel Time continues after a quick break.
Are you one of those people who thinks it's okay to drive stoned? I mean, what's the worst that can happen? You end up driving below the speed limit? It's no big deal, right? Wrong. The truth is, your reaction times slow way down when you're high. You not only put yourself in danger, but everyone around you. Talk about a buzzkill. Stop kidding yourself. It's not okay to drive high. If you've been using marijuana in any form, do not get behind the wheel. If you feel different, you drive different. Drive high, get a DUI. Paid for by NHTSA.
A social distancing tip.
While the CDC urges you to avoid close contact, like hugging or shaking hands, there are other non-physical ways to say hello. Wave, wink, use sign language, salute, smile, give the peace sign, throw up an air high five, do jazz hands. Remember, stay a minimum of 6 feet or 2 arms length away from others and stay home if you can. For more info, visit coronavirus.gov.
Let's all do our part because we're all #AloneTogether. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Thanks for joining us for today's In Wheel Time Car Show. We do a car review each hour of our 2-hour program, and Mike and I alternate hours. So this week, I get the short straw, and I talk about the Fiat 500X. Got a chance to drive that a couple of weeks ago. And it comes in various trim levels. They include the Pop, the Trekking, the Sport, and the Trekking Plus. I had the Sport all-wheel drive. This is a small or extra small SUV. It's not the 500. It's not the 500. This is on a bigger platform.
A shared platform with the Jeep Renegade.
Yeah. Correct.
About the same size. Right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. All right, so it seats as many as 5 passengers. Exterior changes from last model year. Well, it was all new in 2016. Exterior features, it has a fun overall look to it. I couldn't think of a better word. It's a fun vehicle. Similar front fascia to its original 500 smaller brother. A high SUV stance. It sits off the ground like an SUV because that's what it is.
Well, you say tiny, but it's roomy inside.
I would call it small. I don't know that I would go tiny.
In the SUV world,
it's tiny.
It's tiny.
Yeah.
Cargo rear hatch has a sun visor over it. Kind of cool looking. It's almost spoilerish, but it gives it a little bit more
panache,
pop, so to speak. What I liked about it, I like the overall look of it. What could use improvement? I'd like to see a fatter tire and off-roady look. Now, granted, not that many people will take this vehicle off-road, but it is an all-wheel drive vehicle, so keep that in mind. Interior highlights. Simple, cute dash design that works real well, has a built-in touchscreen in it, a nice size one too. Contrasting color combos on the inside add some pizzazz to the interior. Simple 3-pod instrument cluster. It just works for me. I really do like it.
You like things simple.
I do. Comfortable seating. Cargo trunk room, well, it's small compared to some of its competitors. Okay, so pop the rear seat down. This is more of a let's go to the beach kind of weekend vehicle
than it is rock climbing.
Yeah.
But the seats, the driver's and passenger seat look more sports car-ish than they do SUV-ish.
Correct. Fabric and faux leather choices on the interior. It has a 1.3-liter inline turbocharged 4-cylinder, 177 horsepower, 210 pound-feet of torque, and you go, oh, okay. But it's got a 9-speed automatic transmission, so with that little horsepower, that 9-speed helps
it up correctly.
Yeah. Tow rating, believe it or not, it'll tow up to a ton. So you can tow the motorcycle.
A ton sounds a lot more than 2,000 pounds.
Yeah, it does. But I put 2,000 pounds. I did math in my head.
Oh, gosh.
Miles per gallon, 24 city, 30 highway for a combined of 26. I got 25.3 over 336.1.
That's pretty good.
What I liked about it, mileage. What could use improvement? The auto start stop, which is a nemesis of mine, has to
never like that.
Never have. Has to be turned off every initial start. I find it annoying.
Well,
not all cars are that way,
but most are.
Most that I drive, yes. But there are some Jeeps. There are some others that I drive. It's got a big button up on the top of the dash. It says auto start stop, and you press it. Light comes on. It says off. Bingo, there it is, and it stays off. It's just a pet peeve of mine. Ride and handling, sporty ride quality. I don't know as if I would take this off-road, but okay. They say you can. I would give it a shot.
I mean, down at the beach or something,
I would
you know,
do beach.
I don't know that when you stay off-road like that, I think
rock climbing, yeah.
Or deep in the mud.
Or deep in the mud, yeah, you know, because it's got a little bit of clearance. I mean,
a little.
But it doesn't have tires on it that are going to be mud grip.
It needs a more, like he said earlier, a more sporty, off-roady look.
Yeah. Base trim price, $24,590. Price is tested $35,895. Base model price, $26,895. Clearly, this one had a lot of options on it, and it was loaded up. Okay, so competitors, Honda HR-V starts at $2,820. The Mazda CX-3 starts at $2,640. And the Jeep Renegade, its actual twin, which is a four-wheel drive vehicle, is $25,270. So they're all right in there together. And that is the review this hour of the Fiat 500
X.
X. X marks the spot. Isn't that the way it goes? Mm-hmm. Just wanted to make sure that I hadn't gone off the tracks.
Well, you do, but that's okay. We'll try and bring you back every now and then.
Hey, 30-minute podcasts of this show are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio Podcast, TuneIn, Google Podcast, and Podcast Addict.
And if you know any more, tell us. We'll be happy to join them as well.
It's on a bunch of them. At any rate, don't forget, Saturdays you can catch the live video stream on InWheelTime.com, Facebook, and YouTube. Quick break now. Right back with more of In Wheel Time.
911, what's your emergency?
There's a train that just hit a car.
Sir, what is your location? Look around for a street sign, sir.
It's 8th and Orchard. 8th and Orchard.
Okay, very good. 8th and Orchard. Sir, help is on the way.
Why would he do that? The train still doesn't stop. You have to get there now.
At a railway crossing, even if the engineer sees you and hits the brakes, it can take a mile for the train to stop. And for you, that's too late. Stop. Trains can't. Paid for by NHTSA.
Have you noticed that the brakes keep getting shorter and shorter?
Yeah.
I mean, I turn the page and it's time to come back on the air again.
Well, that's okay. We're more interesting than the breaks are sometimes.
Yeah.
Not all the time, but sometimes.
You know what I think what we should do? Just have a show without any breaks at all and see if we can muddle through.
I'm sure we could. Or wander through. We can wander around a little bit.
I don't know about wandering. I'm thinking more about muddling.
Okay.
Just saying.
Well, muddling is something a bartender does when they're making a mint julep. They muddle the mint in the bottom of it. And
where did that word come from? That just came from cocktails here recently.
Well, no, muddling's been around a long time.
It has been?
Yeah.
Came from Bar Rescue.
From Bar Rescue. You tell he spends a lot of time.
You watch Bar Rescue, don't you?
Yeah, so does my mother.
And how old's your mother?
91.
91, like in Bar Rescue. Well, why not? Does she go for all of that dirty language on there?
Sometimes it kind of bothers her a little bit, but, you know. So
she's been around enough.
She started watching John Wick, and she's seen John Wick 1 and 2.
Gosh.
And so she's hooked, so it really doesn't bother her that much.
God, I'm embarrassed just to even talk about that and your mother. Time now for our car calendar and the racing calendar, and Conrad has put together this intricate list of things that are coming.
Well, Monday, September 7th is Labor Day car show in Alvin at the Garage Bar.
Okay.
The Garage Bar and Grill. September 26th, the 3rd Annual Car and Bike Show at Lake Church in Montgomery, Texas. Also on the 26th is Woody's 2nd Annual Waterfront Car Show, and that's going to be a Topwater Grill in San Leon, and we're planning on being there.
Yes, sir.
Live, large, and in charge. October 3rd, the Military and Veteran High Performance Driving School is at the Houston Police Academy. And don't know what the status is. Do we know what's going on with Keels and Wheels? I still have that as October 17th.
Canceled till next year.
Yep.
Okay, so I'll strike that one. That one's not going to happen.
Yeah, that just happened this week. I figured.
Racing stuff. Talk a little bit about some of the area dirt tracks. The Cotton Bowl Speedway in Page, Texas. They've got races tonight and next weekend. The 105 Speedway in Cleveland have races the 22nd, the 29th, and the 6th. They start at 5 p.m. Gulf Coast Speedway in just south of Alvin. These are all the dirt tracks. They're on tonight. They're on the 12th of September and then again the 19th of September. Texana Speedway in Edna. They're not back on until September 6th. And then next weekend is weekend after is Houston
Labor Day
Motorsports
weekend,
Park,
yeah.
Labor Day weekend with the Advanced Auto Parts Labor Day Shootout.
Thrill show.
Thrill show.
Yeah, because that's what it'll be. It's a great big truck racing event.
And then tomorrow is the Indy 500 was moved to tomorrow with COVID. Belgian Grand Prix is next weekend as well. Tonight is Dover International Speedway for NASCAR. Today and tomorrow is Virginia International Raceway with IMSA.
Dover.
Huh?
Ben Dover.
Okay. Send your comments to info@inwheeltime.com. NHRA really isn't back until
It's 4 a.m.
Labor Day
Monday.
weekend. Thanks, Don. It's 4 a.m. Monday. Well, that would be good because that's Labor Day weekend, and they actually have their finals on Monday, but not at 4 a.m. And that's going to be at Lucas Raceway Park.
Good. Thank you so much. I was trying to get you to hurry up because we're running behind. But just to let everybody know that if you've got something to share, let us help you. Send the info to info@inwheeltime.com or through the In Wheel Time Facebook page. Up next, the In Wheel Time Car Show continues. We invite you to stay tuned for Lord knows what.
It's 4 a.m. Monday, and you're literally sucking baby snot through a tube because she's congested. Man, that's love. And if you love her that much, love her enough to make sure she's buckled in the right car seat. To make sure your child's in the right seat for their age and size, visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Show them you love them. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Is your business or company looking to stand out in a crowded advertising market? Looking to reach the real auto enthusiast? Well, you found it. You're listening or watching In Wheel Time, and so are your fellow enthusiasts. The In Wheel Time Car Show now reaches 500,000, and we can put together a marketing plan that will engage them in your product, business, or service. To get the tires rolling, just shoot us an email to our marketing director, Jeff Zekin. His address is jeff@inwheeltime.com.
This is your weekly go-to award-winning car talk show, In Wheel Time. Just ahead, we go live to the Groesbeck Grand Prix. We also take a sneak peek into this week's Mystery Garage. The week in automotive history is ahead, as well as automotive stories making news headlines. Howdy, along with Mike out of this world, Mars down there. King Conrad DeLong right here, Dot Armstrong here. Glad you could join us. And right now, we are going to go directly to our waiting guests. Michael Satterfield, he's the race director out there at the Groesbeck Grand Prix. And Michael, it's great to have you with us. And so tell me a little bit about what's going on out there.
Well, we're really excited to be here. It's going to be a really fun event. It's been a big project to put on, but we're holding a inaugural 1.2-mile time trial and a car show and kind of a festival of motorsports that we think is going to be a lot of fun and be a real draw for Central Texas. It'd be a great event for people from all over Texas to come and enjoy.
When is this?
September 5th and 6th. The big day is Sunday the 6th. That's when we're going to have the actual time trial and the car show. But it's kind of going to be a weekend event, so if people want to come out and camp and hang out for the weekend, there's going to be stuff happening on Saturday and Sunday.
What kind of a time trial? What kind of a track?
So it's a closed public road. We've actually shut down a county road that we got permission from the county, and we're working with all the local authorities to make this happen. And we're shutting down this really beautiful tree-lined kind of curvy country road that's going to dump out onto the parade grounds of Old Fort Parker, which is a really cool, dramatic setting because you come out of the trees and then you're in this parade ground with a pioneer fort and a giant Native American arrow stuck in the ground. And it's a really neat place, and it's going to be a really special event.
So tell us, where is Groesbeck?
So it's about the same distance from Austin, Houston, and Dallas. It's about 2.5 hours, roughly. So it's off Highway 14, about 40 miles east of Waco.
Okay, so 2.5 hours. We could do that in a quick drive.
Yeah, it's right in the middle of all three of the big metropolises.
Day
here.
tripping.
Yeah.
Day trip. So what time do the festivities get underway?
Well, the shows, we actually start shutting down the road at 10 o'clock, so everyone's got to be in on the property before 10, and it goes to about 3 o'clock when we'll reopen the road and allow people to exit and come and go. But, it's going to be, like I said, all weekend Saturday and Sunday. Eventually, we plan to grow this to a multi-day event and have other things going on, but obviously with COVID, we had to scale things back this year.
Yeah.
The main thing people do need to know is that they do have to pre-purchase tickets, and they can do that on the groesbeckgrandprix.com. There's a ticketing page. Because we have to limit the number of people that can come to the event because of the COVID situation.
Spell Groesbeck. Spell Groesbeck for us.
GROESBECK.
Okay, just wanted to make sure so we're all on the same page.
And I put the link to the Grand Prix on our Facebook page.
Okay, very nice.
Awesome.
Well, also sitting in on this Zoom call is Richard Tomlin from Apex Auto Works. Richard, how are you doing, sir?
Amazing day of racing down here at MSR. Getting ready for Groesbeck in 2 weeks.
Motorsports Resort down in Angleton, or headed down toward Angleton, just north of Angleton exactly. Am I correct?
Mm-hmm. That is correct. We're running an SCCA event today. We got about 50 entrants participating, and we'll be running a Lone Star Drift this afternoon, which will have about probably 300 entrants out there sliding cars around as well. So just motorsports festivities all over the Houston area today.
Now that event is going to be held on the road course?
Yes. We've sectioned off the road course for them, and the same thing we do with the track sprint is basically an introduction to road racing, and then the drifting in the afternoon, of course, is a little bit different than regular road racing, but they can use a road course circuit the exact same way.
Do you have a tire supplier down there for all the smoked out, burned out, cord showing through tires?
They have a couple of them, actually.
Oh.
I think there's three vendors on site.
Yeah? Don's Used Tires, is that one of them? Just checking.
Don's is not down here today.
Oh, okay.
Don wants to bring the Corvette and do
No,
some
I do
drifting
not.
in the Corvette because
No,
he knows how
I-
cheap those rear tires are.
No, I'm good.
We
What?
need to get you guys down in the track sprint layout and have a good time.
Well, we need to try that. Who you got with you there?
Well, I've got one of our entrants that's going up to Groesbeck with us.
Okay.
And that is?
My name's Kyle Hale.
Hi, Kyle. So what kind of vehicle are you entering today and up at Groesbeck?
It's a built 2002 BMW M3, so it's heavily modified. It was once a good-looking M3, but now it just looks like a race car.
Yeah.
So is this one Apex did with you?
He helped with a little bit of the online advice, that free advice that Richard likes to hand out, but they haven't actually done any of the work on the car.
So Richard gave you advice to make it look ugly.
Yes. But faster, right? Long as it's faster,
That's
what
right.
we care about.
Yeah, put some more stickers on it, and that'll make it go faster, at least in our mind. Yeah, there is that.
Throw all that comfort out of the interior. You don't need that for a race car.
So you're entering that car there at MSR this weekend, and you're going to take it to Groesbeck in 2 weeks?
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. And actually, I entered the track sprint this morning to practice my cold start, since Groesbeck will be a standing start down the 1.2-mile stretch.
So that's something that we have a lot of competitors are going to have to adapt to, because it's not often that we get a standing start race where your car is set up to have warm brakes and warm tires, as we all know from watching racing on TV. But when you're starting with that stuff cold at the end of 1.2 miles, you're barely getting tires up to temp and brakes up to temp. So people are changing the tire setup that they're running on the car. Some of them are even playing with alignment. And then, of course, your brake pad bias gets changed a little bit and pad makeup.
Trying to put a little bit more heat in it early?
Yep, got to generate some heat.
So are there
Try, at least.
So are there different classes of cars all racing at the same time?
In this event, we will have multiple classes racing at the same time. But again, this is like a time trial type event. So we will be sending a car about every 45 seconds. As soon as one car finishes the course, we'll be launching the next car.
Now you're talking about. Are you talking about the event today down there at MSR?
Groesbeck.
At Groesbeck. Oh, okay. All right.
So you'll be able to watch one car come by at a time, listen to what I call the mechanical noises that the car makes, be able to see how that driver handles and controls the car. And that's some of the art of what we do with these vehicles is being able to make the actual correct mechanical sounds and watch them wiggle and shake down the track.
So Groesbeck is a little bit of the Texas Goodwood.
That's the goal for sure. I tell people it's the Goodwood Festival of Speed in Central Texas, and Mike's got some amazing aspirations, and I tell you what, I'm all in to see what else we can build. The scale back hurt this year, but it allows us an opportunity to make sure we're doing everything correctly, test our ticketing processes, all of our safety protocols, and make it only better for 2021.
So am I invited to go up there to Groesbeck in the Apex Auto Works transport bus, motorhome, that sort of thing?
Absolutely. I'll even put a seatbelt in the bed of the truck for you.
I just strap him in the Miata you got in the open trailer you're dragging up.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time that I've been strapped to the back of a truck. You know, I'm good back there.
At least it's not the hood yet.
Not yet. There's that. Yeah, it is deer season. Yeah. And so, at any rate, let's get back to Michael Satterfield. Mike, can we go up there and watch, or do we have to buy an actual ticket to race?
Well, you need to buy their spectator tickets. It's $10 for Sunday, the main day. So you do have to have a ticket to get in because we do have to control the total number of people we can have on site.
Sure.
But yeah, other than that, I mean, originally we were planning to have at gate ticketing, but to control that number, we do have to have pre-ordered tickets, so that way we know who's coming and have everyone pick up their stuff. But we've got some really cool vehicles that are going to be on display, some great cars racing. And it's going to be a really cool open kind of festival. We've got some good vendors coming, some food trucks that will be out there. So it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a great event. There's a lot of shade. It's a big open field, but there's some big shade trees. So you can hang out in the field, watch the cars go by, check out the concours, and make a great day of it all.
So there is a concours event that goes along with it.
Yes, actually, inside the old vintage Pioneer Fort, we have a very select group of cars that are going to be inside there that are competing for a trophy, and we've got a couple other People's Choice and some local officials that are doing some Sheriff's Choice Awards and things like that. So it'll be pretty cool. Again, this year is scaled back from what we'd originally planned, but we've got some really exciting cars coming from as far away as North Carolina to be part of this event. So it is drawing people from all over the country, and we have some great cars from all over Texas coming.
Did I misread? You said the Sheriff's Choice Award? Is that what you said?
Yes. Yeah, we actually had a great meeting with our local sheriff. He's super excited. He's a car guy. He actually owns a Triumph Spitfire himself.
Uh-huh.
And he's actually going to come out, and they're going to have one of our sheriff's vehicles be our safety car that'll clear the course for us ahead each time. So it'll be pretty fun.
So they're not.
So they're going to be used to getting out to pushing the Triumph off the track.
Well, I was kind of more concerned about whether or not he was bringing his ticket book, since it is a closed road course that is actual a highway up there.
Well, I'm sure they had to get permission from the local sheriff's department to close the course, as well as set up security on both ends to make sure Granny doesn't go wandering through the track at some point.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's been really great. The local communities really come around and kind of coalesce around this event. We've got the cities of Mejia and Groesbeck, which are super involved with promoting the event and supporting it, and then the local sheriffs, the county judge. Everybody's been really excited to see something different and new come to the area, and the people that it's going to bring to the area and kind of expose our really cool community that we have out there.
Well, we're happy you have a county judge that works with the community.
Yeah.
Oh,
did I just say that?
There's that. That's it. Wanted to ask you, and I'm just visioning in my mind that that does have some undulations in the topography out there, and that it's not flat like it is in Houston, Texas.
It's got a few little undulations to it. It's got some curves. A lot of people have been mistaken in going and looking at Google Maps and looking at the road, and Google's never driven down that road, so they just show it as a straight line. But it's definitely not a straight line. There's some great curves and undulations and some little bumps and stuff that'll make it a little more exciting for the drivers. And then there's a big 90-degree turn at the end of it that sweeps out into the parade grounds, and it's going to be really cool because it's just going to be a great visual for our media guys are taking pictures there, and all the spectators to see these really cool classic cars and really unique race cars come around the corner and then go through this really dramatic straight down towards the fort.
Well, Michael, Richard, we thank you so much for being with us today and telling us about the Groesbeck Grand Prix. Again, that's, a couple of weeks?
Yep, September 5th and 6th.
Okay, so Labor Day weekend.
And we've got their link posted on our Facebook page.
Okay, very good. Well, gentlemen, thanks again. We really appreciate it. Good luck down there at Motorsports Resort. Richard and your guests there, we look forward to seeing you guys soon. Thanks again, and we hope to be in touch soon.
Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you. All right, this week in automotive history, that is going to be coming up in just a moment. I have to get my act together because I've been just a little...
Well, you just got to push a button to play the next commercial.
You make it sound so simple, but it's more than just one button. It's multiple buttons. And let me show you how that works.
Well, we just want to push your buttons.
Well, you've already done that. But let me show you, if I can get my act together, how that works. Clearly it's not working very well at all. And you have absolutely no room
When
to
might
laugh.
you be buzzed? When you suddenly love everything.
You guys, I love this song. I love these nachos. I love our kickball league. Ugh! I love this guy. What's your name? You know what I'd love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I love your car. Is this real leather?
A social distancing tip.
Putting distance between yourself and others is critical to slowing the spread of coronavirus. So here are ways to stay in contact without the physical contact part. Call, send a text, set up a video conference, post on social media, dedicate a song on the radio. If you have symptoms of fever, dry cough, and shortness of breath, call your healthcare provider before going to their office. For more info, visit coronavirus.gov.
Let's all do our part because we're all #alone together. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
You know, I have to tell on myself.
Nobody else will.
I'm surprised that
Unless we get the chance.
Exactly. And you've had chances, but nobody ever said anything, so far anyway, about my water spillage earlier today.
You haven't seen what's been out there on Facebook.
You have no clue what has happened here. And I'm going to tell on myself because right before we went on the air, I had this bottle of water that was full. You can see that it's down to half a bottle.
And the cap off.
Yeah, and the cap off. And not only did I spill it once, but I spilled it twice.
All over your papers and my papers.
This is my automotive news stories that's coming up. I had highlighted several sections in it. It's all messed up, as you can tell. So it ought to be a real hoot to listen to that when I'm
explaining something about Ford Relay.
I love this show. I keep telling myself that. Do I really?
Yes, you do.
Some days are better than others. There's no doubt about that. So, time now for the Mystery Garage. And I want to do something a little bit different today. Of course, I do something different every Mystery Garage. But I thought, you know what? If you got property and you want to build a garage, what kind of garage would you build? Would you build, just one of those metal building garages? No. Why would you do that? Because if you put just a little bit of extra effort into it, you could build a garage like this. Now, so you've got the gas pump. Now, that's not some super antique. Probably from the late 50s, early 60s, I would guess.
Early 60s, yeah.
Notice we've got the Coca-Cola machine in front of the window. The only thing that I wouldn't do is I wouldn't mix brands. I would have a brand and pick it because here's one: Mobil Oil and Texaco on the same driveway. But, there is confusion. Maybe it was bought out by Mobil or Texaco or something. But whatever the case, it gives you an opportunity to, this is actually a 3-car garage, but I wanted to show the main entrance. So we've got the office, we got the bathroom in there, and then we got a 3-car garage. I just thought that this was really cool. If you're going to build a garage on your property, this is kind of
that's the way to do it. Yeah.
It's got a wooden phone booth there.
Yeah, and you get somebody.
Those are hard to find.
I know. Yeah, they are. Well, you would know because Mars used to, yeah. Okay, so let's move on to the second picture. Okay, so what would you have inside that garage? And that's what you would have inside the garage. Maybe a little bit more modern wall art. Maybe perhaps what would have been the cover out there over the gas pumps for the Shell Oil Company. But I thought that was pretty cool. Plus, the guys clearly got some really nice cars. But, part of having a garage with nice cars, you got to have a little display going on. But how much would it really take to do something like that? Because let's face it, that facade up above the cars there that has the Shell on it, that's pretty much paint except for the Shell letters.
Right.
Yeah, that's paint. Yeah, he's got a couple of matching gas pumps there, but, It's not that hard to do if you put your mind to
They
it.
do those replica gas pumps now. It's so easy to find.
Yeah.
I mean, every swap meet's got bunches of them.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, these are from Car Guy Garage, and there's people send
Submit
pictures.
their pictures
yeah.
of their garage.
So I thought that this was really cool, and I'm going to go over to Craig's house and take a picture of what he did. But this, okay, so yeah, he's got a lot of room here. He's got his 6-car collection, but they're all facing the wall that he's put this piece of artwork, a mural, if you will, but that's done with a printer. A great big commercial printer.
Okay. It's like wallpaper.
It's like wallpaper. And it's a picture, obviously, of cars in a drive-in, not of this era. But notice what he did with the screen. So he's got an overhead projector, and where the screen is in the picture, he put the screen for the overhead projector.
Oh,
So
that's cool.
everybody's there looking at it, and then his cars are lined up in the back
So
as
you
well.
go sit in his cars and watch the movie.
And he's also got, you'll notice, there on the right-hand side between the cars, he's actually got the speakers from a real, honest-to-goodness drive-in. I just thought that those are really cool pictures, give you some different ideas.
Really
of-
neat ideas.
Yeah, I thought so too. All right. If you're a member of a car, truck, or Jeep club, we'd like to put your bunch in our Car Club Spotlight. All you have to do is shoot us an email with the contact information to info@inwheeltime.com. Auto history. You know, I've actually kind of gotten into this because every week, something different.
There's a couple of nuggets that you didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know, and I find out as I research them. So, yeah, I really enjoy researching this. So, this week in 1897, and of course, Ransom Eli Olds in Lansing, Michigan, founded.
How did we know that it was going to be Oldsmobile time?
He founded Olds Motor Works, which later became Oldsmobile. And remember, there was a point in time when Ransom was booted from Oldsmobile, and he created REO. Ransom
Speedwagon?
Band?
REO Speed,
I
the
knew
band.
that was the band. Yeah, he's a hard rocker. And no, REO, the
truck company.
truck line. So in 1905, an attorney filed to register the Cadillac Crest as its trademark this week. And to this day, that crest is part of the Cadillac logo.
Yes. Well, I don't know.
Yep.
I think that the crest.
Oh, they removed the crest. They took the ducks out as well. Yeah, but it's still part of the logo.
Because we're talking to Mr. Cadillac, Jeff
I know.
Zekin, on this.
We need more Jeff on the show, is what I keep seeing on Facebook.
We need more Jeff?
Yeah, but I think Jeff's the one who posts.
but
Jeff posted it. Yeah.
So this week in 1909, in front of 12,000 spectators, which is going to be more than there is tomorrow, automotive engineer Louis Schweitzer wins the first inaugural race at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It was a 5-mile race. They raced 2 laps. And you got to remember, originally, Indianapolis Motor Speedway was all brick. All the way around the track was brick.
Can you imagine what that ride was like?
Oh.
Yeah.
You like that? It's pretty good sound effects, isn't it? But,
Did I hear that again?
In 1927, Henry and Edsel Ford drove the 15 millionth Model T off the assembly line at Highland Park in Michigan, officially ending Model T production. They
Thank
made
God.
15 million of those, and that's why you can still find them today at a relatively fair price. In 1937, Toyota Motor Company was established. In 1958, the production of the Packard line came to an end. In 1984, this week, after 30 hours of deliberation, a jury of 6 men and 6 women unanimously acquit former automaker, who? John DeLorean, from 8 counts of drug trafficking in California. In 1985, the last episode of The Dukes of Hazzard aired, and the crowd goes, "Aww." And then in 1991,
I'm wearing Daisy Dukes right now.
don't stand up. Please don't stand up. In 1991, Mazda introduced or announced the introduction of the new luxury line for Mazda called Amati.
Okay.
That didn't last very long. I was going to say, when you look at, Toyota introduced Lexus, Nissan introduced Infiniti, Honda introduced Acura, Mazda introduced Amati, and it was an absolute bomb.
Thank you.
This week in automotive history.
This week's auto news coming up next on the In Wheel Time Car Show.
GTG, BRB, OMW, be there in a few. You may think that these kinds of texts are fine because of their length, and you can easily send them at a stoplight. But no, answering one text can take your attention away from the road for 5 seconds. And traveling at 55 miles an hour, that's enough time to travel the length of a football field. Make good decisions, don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
Texas Truck Works is your go-to truck customizer. From mild-to-wild lift kits, custom wheels, and steering and handling enhancements to the best personal and commercial wraps, Texas Truck Works delivers. Let Texas Truck Works founder Scott Stevens help you get the most out of your truck or Jeep. Texas Truck Works has decades of customizing experience, including power adders and complete engine swaps. Let the Texas Truck Works team design an upgrade plan that fits your budget. Get truck attitude today at TexasTruckWorks.com.
You're on the In Wheel Time Car Show. Thanks for riding along. Time now for the stories making auto news headlines this week. Kind of teased this earlier in the hour. Ram put the truck world on notice in 2016 when it unwrapped a hulking TRX pickup concept that delivered 575 horsepower. We'll scratch that. Now, the off-road speedster is nearly here, and it has outdone the concept by raising the bar to 702 horsepower. The updated engine output leapfrogs the 450 horsepower of the Ford F-150 Raptor. I didn't realize that it was only 450 horsepower.
Twin-turbo V6.
Giving Ram bragging rights in the hyper-competitive pickup market. 2021 Ram 1500 TRX introduced as a concept at the State Fair of Texas 4 years ago. Jets from 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds, 0 to 100 in 10 seconds. Tops out at 118 miles an hour. And is rated at 450 pound-feet of torque. TRX loaded with the same supercharged 6.2-liter Hemi V8 engine that powers Dodge's Hellcat line. FCA re-engineered and fortified the frame for the TRX, which is 75% changed from the 1500. And notice that I did not say that it was a Ram 1500 because it is not.
And the launch edition sold out in people raising their hand
10
for
minutes.
It. Yeah.
10 minutes. It was gone.
Pretty awesome.
All 702 editions.
Yeah, I remember whenever they unveiled that up there in at Dallas at the State Fair. And
right.
They fired that thing up, and it would just.
What did they unleash it there with open headers?
No, it didn't have open headers, but it was on a stage, so it had plenty of volume echo coming feedback.
I would have said cutouts. Open headers.
Morrison was with Ram at the time, so he got in it, and he blipped it a couple of times, and we kept thinking, well, it'd be a good place to do a burnout right there on the stage.
Absolutely.
But they didn't quite go that far.
Burnout on
but
the
it was
stage.
Cool.
Hey, Mercedes-Benz is dropping the Freightliner Sprinter van in the U.S. at the end of 2021 with output ending a South Carolina plant in September 2021. Mercedes has sold the Sprinter van through two channels, Freightliner and Mercedes-Benz dealers, and will continue to build and market Mercedes versions, but no Freightliner. Company cited multiple factors for the decision to drop the Freightliner, introduced in 2001, including current and future economic conditions, as well as COVID-19.
And they sell a lot of them. You can see all those gray Amazon vans. There's tons of those that are the Sprinter vans.
Yep. Nissan will discontinue sales of its full-size Titan pickup truck in Canada, a struggling truck market this year. I did not realize that Canada was a struggling truck market.
No, I didn't either. I figured it'd be booming.
Canadian sales of the Titan last year cratered to 2,807, down nearly half from a year before. Okay. Is that a sign of things to come? Because I heard that Nissan was actually going to redesign the Titan and actually going to give it a freshen up to get sales moving a little bit, because sales have been in the dump. They dropped that Cummins diesel engine out of it.
They spent a lot of money developing that.
They did.
Hey, I want to give a quick shout out to our international viewer. Mike Knotts is watching from Frankfurt, Germany.
Oh, wow.
So we have an international reach here at In Wheel Time.
Jawohl. You're on the In Wheel Time Car Show. We'll back after this.
A crying baby is impossible to ignore, but a quiet baby can can be easy to forget. Every year, dozens of children lose their lives because otherwise attentive adults forgot they were in the back seat. It only takes a moment for a car to heat up to dangerous levels, even on cooler days. So get in the habit of always looking in the back seat and use reminders to ensure baby is always with you. Where's baby? Look before you lock. Paid for by NHTSA.
There's no greater pain a parent can suffer than losing a child. And yet, heat stroke deaths in hot cars are on the rise. The temperature inside a vehicle can reach deadly levels in just a few minutes. Leaving windows cracked does not help. These preventable deaths can occur even when the outside temperature is as low as 57 degrees. Never leave your baby or child in a vehicle, even for a short period. And always check the back seat before you get out of the car. Where's baby? Look before you lock. Paid for by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Hello, everybody, from Studio A in Texas, USA. It's hour number 2 of the All Things Automotive Car Talk Show in real time. Just ahead, we talked to Ford Motor Company about the Mach-E 1400. Have you heard about it? Oh, yeah, baby. You're going to want to hear about it. In our new car showroom is the 2020 Buick Enclave Avenir. We'll take you for a ride. And later, Conrad's Car Clinic, the events calendar, and the stories making automotive news headlines this week. All just ahead in this portion of the In Wheel Time Car Show. Along with Mike out of this world, Mars down there fiddling with his phone, and Conrad DeLong over here, Don Armstrong here. Glad that you could join us for this Saturday. We've got hurricane breathing down our neck. Well, not down our neck, 2 of them here on the Gulf Coast. And actually, I looked what the Weather Service said, and ABC 13 this morning with their weather forecasters.
Bend over and hold on tight.
And nobody seems to know what's going to happen or where it's going to go. Let me put it that way. They're all coming into the Gulf of Mexico, and one of them is, they've got it coming right here. And the other one's supposed to be a little bit off east of here. We'll see how the week progresses, but the first one's supposed to hit Tuesday.
Hey, I want to find my mom again, because when I was a little kid, she used to say, I'm going to slap you into next year. Slap me into next year.
Please,
I'm tired of 2020.
please. Yeah. So, at any rate, while we're waiting for our next guest from Ford, I have a Ford story that I wanted to tell you about. Ford slashing the prices on the 2021 Explorer crossover by more than $3,000 on certain trims and repackaging some content in a bid to bolster its front-runner status in the large crossover segment. Base Explorer costs $33,470 for the 2021 model year, including shipping, a $540 decrease from the 2020 model. And according to prices reported by Ford Authority, Ford said the price changes reflect a reshuffling of content. And they do that model year to model year because they'll find that, okay, well, this particular trim level didn't sell as well as we thought it would.
And people in this trim level are always optioning this piece, so they kind of package it together. And when they do that, it gives them an opportunity to lower the price. They're also going to sell a ton of them to various police departments around the country that lost a bunch of them.
Well, you know, it's
over the
funny
last
that
couple
you
of
should
months.
say that.
That's why I said that. It's the lead into your next story, Don.
Police departments
Trust me.
Police departments under siege by twin crises. State and local coffers have been decimated by the coronavirus pandemic, and the Black Lives Matter movement is pressuring officials to target police budgets for cuts. That's bad news for the automakers that supply law enforcement vehicles, a niche business seen as a lucrative market not long ago. Segment leader Ford and other police vehicle manufacturers, including Fiat Chrysler Automobiles and GM, compete for contracts that have provided stable profits and image-related benefits.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Most are gussied up versions of their mass market cars and trucks so they can be produced relatively cheaply but with lots of upgrades, such as motion detectors and 12-inch touchscreens for the regular general population. Budget cuts seemingly inevitable. Police departments are likely to axe equipment to save jobs, and the headcount reductions they do make will necessitate fewer vehicles. Data on police fleets nationwide are kind of hard to come by, but a look at some of the largest departments shows competition among major automakers is intense.
Oh, yeah.
New York City Police Department, one of the largest in the country, fleet of 9,000 vehicles already has begun cutting back. Of the 534 new vehicles purchased, down more than 50% from last year's total, only 29 were utility vehicles, according to department data obtained by Streets Blog and provided to Bloomberg News. This story from Automotive News. New York Police Department did not respond to requests for an interview, but the $1 billion budget cut announced in June likely contributed to the changes. The city specified savings of $5 million in deferred fleet purchases, and that may be just the beginning. Also, for the past 5 years, a version of the Explorer has been the must-have vehicle for law enforcement agencies as the automakers abandoned sedans for utility vehicles and pickups following a trend in the civilian passenger vehicle market. Let's do some math.
Yeah.
These larger vehicles, while providing officers with additional room and comfort, also are more costly. The Atlanta Police Department paid an average of $47,654 for the Ford utility vehicles in its fleet of last month, compared with $27,391 for similar sedans, according to data provided by the department. LA Police Department spent more than $3.8 million on pursuit-related utility vehicles in the fiscal year that ended June 30th, compared with almost $10 million 2 years ago.
Yeah, and Ford's Explorer, but the name on the front of it's called Interceptor. That tends to be theirs. General Motors sells Tahoes, and tons of Tahoes as a police package, and these are truly a vehicle that's developed as a police package. And of course, FCA sells the Charger. If you ever wanted to go look at who does the testing as far as whose police packages, Michigan State Police every year runs a pretty conclusive test of all of the police packages that are out there available through a pretty aggressive test process, and then produces all that information out to all the police departments around the country.
You know, several years ago, we were invited up to Ford Motor Company in Dearborn for an event, and I think it was a press preview of the Fiesta. Remember the Fiesta?
Mm-hmm.
They don't even make it anymore. But
it was their smallest car at the time.
Right. And with a tiny engine, and we all looked at each other going, really? But at any rate, while we were there, they also had some new police vehicles, the Explorer, one of them, and they took us for test drives. We didn't drive it. It was a professional driver. It was out there on that great big skid pad with the water and all the stuff that you see when it comes to testing cars. We went out there, and so I climbed in the passenger front seat, and the driver took...
And off he goes.
And off he goes. And it's pretty amazing.
And you're screaming like a 7-year-old girl.
Like
going,
a little girl. I was loving every minute of it. But it's pretty amazing that what they do to make them police vehicles, and by no means mistake a police vehicle for a regular Ford Explorer.
No.
The biggest thing is this huge tunnel that they actually bolt in down the center, right where the drive shaft
console would be.
Yeah, where the transmission tunnel would be to the rear axle. But they bolt an additional, it's a frame stiffening thing for the entire body, and it also has all the wires and stuff that goes back to the trunk where all of the electronics are for that car. Hooks up the computer and all that stuff that's in there.
Well, it also increases the crashworthiness of the vehicle by doing that, because what they're doing is they're tying the firewall and the rear chassis component together. Because, those vehicles, they go through pretty abusive driving.
Big time.
So they have to stiffen the vehicle up in doing that. And you can always tell a police car that comes into service somewhere that's been repurposed, because generally if it was originally a police car, there's going to be extra brackets and gusseting underneath the hood to stiffen it up for the ride quality and the abuse driving, but also the crashworthiness.
And it sits lower to the ground. Mm-hmm. It's got different springs on it.
Different suspension.
Right. Steel wheels with the hub.
Always steel wheels. Now, there are some now that they're putting aluminums on, but I remember the Michigan State Police said the spec is steel wheels, because a steel wheel will take some deflection and some damage, where an aluminum wheel will always break.
Yeah. I was really impressed by this. They didn't do a lot to the engine engine because the engine had enough horsepower. It was a V8 in it. It had enough horsepower, but it was mainly the suspension and the stiffening of all of the components right down the middle of the vehicle.
And in some of them, there's a brake upgrade as well. So if they offer another brake system, maybe on another platform that's bigger, stronger, beefier, they'll throw that on as a parts bin upgrade to the vehicle.
And they also have a paint option. And the paint option is either white or black and white. And it's an upgrade to get the black and white, but that way you don't have to, as a police department, have to paint it.
You know, one of the other things about police cars is they all have the same key.
What?
They all have the same key. The same in a police package that's delivered to a fleet. Every vehicle that's delivered has the same ignition key and the same door key. That way, any cop who has a vehicle key can go in and get themselves inside.
Anyone in that organization.
Right.
Houston Police Department keys to their Ford Explorers are all the same.
Are all the same. Yeah, and it's been that way for years. But
that would make sense.
Yeah, but
who's going to steal a police car? The Blues Brothers?
Well, yeah. Let's not
it certainly does happen on occasion, but they usually not because they got a key.
But it's interesting if you go back in time to police cars. You know, there was a point in time, of course, I'm going to say Oldsmobile had a police package that they sold.
They did?
Oh, yeah. We used to sell, New Jersey State Police. We used to sell Delmont 88s to the New Jersey State Police.
I thought that was called Del Monte.
No, Delmont 88s to the New Jersey State Police.
Delmont.
What
year was that?
67, 68, 69-ish.
Back in the hot rod era.
Oh, and they had a 425 in them. Oh, God. And they were their highway pursuit vehicles, you know. And then, when you go back in the days to the Blues Brothers days, all of those Furies that they built.
The Plymouth Fury.
Those were absolute tanks with lots and lots of extra bracing and generally whatever the upgraded engine was that was available.
Well, that's no secret. I mean, because I remember, what year were those Blues Brothers cars?
73, 72, 73, 74.
No, I didn't think they were that new.
Oh, yeah, they were.
Because that they were the big and boxy ones. And by 72, 73, they had started gone into...
No, they didn't go small until about 76.
Not small, but they went to a little more, a different design, the more like the Charger.
Well, they wrecked more cars in that movie than they did any other movie since.
That was the greatest chase scene, I think. It was as good as, if not better than, the Bullet chase scene.
I don't want to go that far. And you look at Ford's history of Crown Victorias building police cars, and it's still a police car you see today, and the old Chevy Caprices you see today, because there's a whole industry of rebuilding those cars to put back in the police fleet because they were so...
Yeah,
they
because
were so
there's a lot of
purpose-built.
smaller towns and stuff that don't want to buy the new ones. They're getting those because they know they'll work. They know they'll last.
And if you look at a Ford Crown Victoria, a police car, or a taxi, which were the same chassis, next to a regular Crown Victoria, the police car is longer. And all of the length is in the rear seat footwell, because if you look at the bottom of the door is about 4 inches longer than a regular Crown Vic.
Well, I have to tell you that, I work with several retired police officers, actually one that's still active. And I said, so what's your favorite police car of all times?
Crown Vic.
Hands down, Crown Vic.
Yeah.
He told me, we never let up on those cars. And yes, one of them actually confessed that they had that thing in reverse doing about 40 miles an hour, did the whip around going the other way, dropped it, and did it, dropped it into drive and burnt that right rear tire right off that thing.
But some of them car manufacturers, having developed police cars through the years, it was a huge income source for Ford, Chrysler, and General Motors in that segment of fleet.
Those Crown Vics, which they stopped making, 6 years ago? 5 years ago?
Way longer than that. I'm going to say 10, 12 years ago.
They're still in the police departments. DPS has got a ton of them. Right? That's right.
Well, that's what I was saying. There are companies out there that will rebuild one for police department. Just to put
I
back
want one.
Just to put back in the police fleet.
I want one. And I want that sliding glass. No, it's just a cage back there.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, Crown Vics, you also see a lot of Chevy, the old Chevy Caprices, not the suppository-looking one, but the older square Chevy Caprice.
What's a suppository?
It's smooth and round.
I wouldn't know anything about that.
And as far as police cars, instead of putting it someplace, you put them in the back of it.
Oh, God.
Either way, it works the same.
You know, it just the wheels just fell off, and
Well, this is in wheel time. Let's put them back on.
Yeah, let's put them back on.
It's the exact same type of ball.
So yeah, so I assume that we're not having our Ford interview.
That's correct.
Great. Well, we really appreciate it, Brian Novak from Ford Performance Motorsports.
We'll
with
have
the
you
Ford
back in the future.
Mach. We will?
Yes.
You will. Be sure and stay with us and stay in touch with us all week long by following us on Facebook, YouTube, and through InWheelTime.com. Each and every week, we invite you to join us for our live 2-hour show, 10 a.m. to noon Central. And we've got more of the In Wheel Time show, we think, right after this quick break.
As America gets back on the road, a lot of things have changed, but not the need for drivers to be safe. With that in mind, it's time to review our safe driving checklist. First, you're in your car.
Check.
You're sober.
Check.
You're wearing your seatbelt.
Check.
Your phone is put away.
Check.
Great. Make sure you follow the speed limit. And remember, law enforcement is enforcing traffic safety laws in our community to save lives. Paid for by NHTSA.
Houston's most in-depth car show, In Wheel Time, streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and on Wheel Time at InWheelTime.com. Podcasts available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, iHeart Podcasts, TuneIn, Google Podcast, Podcast Addict.
George Skelton says the Blues Brothers vehicle was a 1974 Dodge Monaco.
There you go.
Thanks, George.
I remember the Dodge
But
Monaco.
that's what I'm saying. It's back in the 70s. Yeah.
Well, but
yeah.
But when was Blues Brothers? 79?
Yeah, probably.
George,
Google that for us and let us know.
I'll find out. In the meantime, we're going to have a review. Mr. Mars had a chance to drive the Buick Enclave Avenir.
Avenir, yes, sir. Front-wheel drive. We're talking about the 2020 model that is a mid-size luxury SUV-type vehicle. Now, one thing I will say, this is a 3-row CUV, which is fine. You want to put the little ones back there, that's what you're going to end up doing with that third row. But we'll get into that. So it comes in 4 different trim levels. You can get the Preferred, the Essence, the Premium, and you can get the Avenir, which is what we had, which puts it at the top level. Rated for 7 passengers, technically. And some of the changes that you're going to see on the new Buicks is that the waterfront grille is gone. The fake fender vents are
Thank
gone.
God.
A lot of the external pieces, they've kind of upgraded, to me, modernized it, but given it a much more classic look to it than what it was before. So you're going to find more of a rounded grille opening that leads down to the LED headlights that are kind of narrow and fit back into the body trim lines or the body shoulder line. It's part of the LED lighting package that includes daytime running lights that are LED, the tail lights, etc. And it's got those nice sleek lines, like I say, that come off of the headlights and that body line that go back, and it gets back into the rear fenders, and it's got a nice little fender line there. It just got a nice classic look to it to me, and I think that's what Buick is really going for here. Had power folding side mirrors, had the power lift gate. We were rolling on the optional 20-inch aluminum wheels. When you get into the interior of this vehicle, we had the leather-appointed seating. The front was heated and ventilated. Actually had massage settings on it.
Oh, my God.
Just what I need.
Did you use it?
Help me go to sleep while I'm driving.
Did you use it?
Oh, I tried it really good.
He tried it good.
You
Boy,
can't afford not to. You know, you got to test these things out. It's all research. Now,
No comment.
Is Becky with you when you do this?
No.
Okay.
So the second row had the heated seats on the outbound positions, on the outside positions, and the third row is a 60/40 folding seat. Again, so it's back there. I folded it down and left it down because of that size vehicle. I'm not a fan of the third row. But we also, in the dash, we had the 8-inch touchscreen. Now, that's where we had the Apple and the Android applications, the Bluetooth. And
That's
this is
one
really,
good-looking dashboard, sir.
And it really is. And this is what Buick's infotainment system is all set up there, and it works really well.
That
It's
really
got
is a
lot of
beautiful
touches,
dash, I think.
And it's got
they did it well.
They did. They took a lot of keys from some of their other GM cousins, Cadillac.
But
and some of
just
others,
the
and
shapes
and put
really
it all
look
together
nice.
into a nice package there. Had the Bose premium audio sound system now, and you combine that with the quiet cabin area because it's got a lot of
insulation.
A lot of insulation. It's got the glass that
sound deadening.
Sound deadening glass.
I'm not even reading this note.
Sounds like.
Yeah, I got that over in the other
He's
on
hand
the,
signaling
in the
me.
next section. You
But
know,
that's
the
also-
laminated glass, the active noise cancellation, and all.
You
the
need to
sound
catch up to
material.
Conrad is what
Yeah,
you
I
need to do.
But that's
Exactly.
also a Buick tradition.
He's reading ahead. Yeah. And so, and the other thing I liked about this vehicle, the third row, behind the third row seat, there's 23.6 cubic feet of place for cargo. So again, to me, I folded that seat down. And so behind that second row, if I fold the second row down, then there's 97.6 cubic feet. So you can put a lot of stuff in this
I
vehicle.
don't know what 97.6 cubic feet is. What is that?
You could fit 14 Jimmy Hoffas if you lay them down horizontally.
Really? I was not familiar with the size of Jimmy Hoffa.
97
You'd have
cubic
to be
feet, 14 of them.
Inside that car that's now 12 by 12.
Yeah, you measure the concrete in the bridge. But anyway, so up underneath the hood, there's only one engine choice for this vehicle. It's 3.6 liter V6, 310 horsepower, 266 pound-feet of torque at 2,800 RPM. So you can kick that in kind of early with a 9-speed automatic
Are you
transmission.
going to send this review to General Motors?
Well, yeah.
I can only imagine what the edit is going to be like when you get done with it.
Yeah, I'll have to work on the edit on that.
Uh-huh.
So, and it comes with a tow rating of 1,500 pounds, which is not a lot, but it'll put your jet skis, it'll put maybe a small camper or something. But you can get the optional trailer and tow package on it, and it'll pull up to 5,000 pounds.
Oh,
So
that's
it'll
significant.
haul a load if you really set it up to do that. Now, the EPA says in the city you should be looking for about 18 miles to the gallon. You should be looking for 26 on the highway and combined about 21. I got about 20. We put it out on the highway a lot.
But this is
then-
a large CUV.
Well, no, it's actually, it is a larger, but it's not the large
Well,
CUV.
it's not
It's a
suburban
mid-size.
size,
No,
but
no. It's the mid-size, and it's kind of a large
It's
mid-size.
large on the midsize.
Yeah. So, and out on the highway, you're in a Buick because you've got that nice, it's a nice Buick ride, and that's part of that is because it's got the multi-link suspension up in the front and in the rear, so you get a soft ride, but it's also quiet again because of all the features that do
and
that.
high content.
And then
Very
you
high
throw
content,
that in there with the audio system, a nice audio system, and you got a really nice ride out on the highway. If you're looking to compare something to compare it to, you might look at the Acura RDX, maybe an Infiniti Q60, or even an Audi Q7. Now, the base Buick Enclave, the one that you're going to go in, the preferred model, you can pick that up for about $40,000. Got a lot of nice base features on it because it is the Buick. But you step up to the Enclave Avenir that we were driving so that you're into the top of the line. Again, we're in the front-wheel drive, not the all-wheel drive, which will cost you a little bit more. But the base price on this is $53,800. And MSRP is tested with the features, a couple little add-ons like the wheels. It pushes it up to $57,090.
$6,000 worth of add-ons.
Yeah, there's quite a bit, and most of that is in the technology. It really is, with the adaptive cruise and some of the other features.
Let me
this thing
just
has
say
got.
this about that. I drove a car, and we'll review it in a few weeks. And I'm going to tell you what it is. But it had so much technology in it. I think I mentioned this in the first hour. Maybe I didn't.
Well, we talked about it before the show.
Yeah, before the show.
But it had a owner's manual that is darn near 700 pages long, and it had so much tech in it, it was over the top. That I don't know, and I'm a car guy, you guys, we would never, ever drill down into all of that stuff.
And use all of the technology.
Nobody,
that's there.
who does that?
Right.
I compare it to the Beta machine that I had. That was my first VH. Well, it wasn't a VHS. It was a Beta.
Betamax.
A Betamax.
Which was better than the VHS.
Quality-wise, allegedly. And oh my gosh, I paid a fortune for the thing. It was like $1,200.
Oh gosh, they saw you coming.
And all I saw was the time. flashing 12 all the time. And I never used any of the features on it.
You couldn't get Katie to reset the clock for you?
She wasn't born yet.
Okay.
Yeah, it's too early.
But that's what this was like. It's too much.
And people have to own that car, and they've got to be in it for a while to even think about trying to find all
How
those
much
features.
time, if you live in the car, okay, I might be able to understand some of it. But to be able to have, 7 different kinds of mode settings, which changes the algorithm of the engine,
the brakes,
the transmission, the
cruise
brake,
control.
all of that. It changes it. Why do you need all of that? Give me 3 maybe.
Well, and that's the other thing is when you look at the target market for Buick, which I'm going to say is married couples with children, maybe a little bit more into the 40s and 50s.
Right.
They're not looking for something that's that complicated. They just want the technology there that works, which is a little bit of the difference from the car you drove to what the Avenir offers, because the Avenir, the stuff works and you don't have to jack around with it.
Yeah. And you know
It's
what?
not overly complicated.
Generally speaking, I would say that probably 95% of the American buyer for the Buick Avenir would have plenty with the basic, whatever the car comes with. Do you need all of that
absolutely.
other stuff?
I don't need 10 different colors of interior lighting,
And
mood lighting.
yeah.
I don't need, it's fun to play with it, but
And you don't need all the adaptability of all the algorithms that tie the brakes, the transmission,
No.
all of that stuff
I need
together.
a
It's
nice,
just,
I
quiet
want the
ride.
rear view camera, which is going to be mandatory soon. I want the blind
think
spot,
it already is.
the blind spot side view mirrors. I do want some things. I do like the radar.
do you like the automatic braking?
I-
Have you experienced automatic braking yet?
too much, and it's always intrusive. I'm
supposed to
seeing the car. I'm not on my cell phone. If I'm on the cell phone, I'm one of those kind of people that on the cell phone and doing all of this that bash into the back of people all the time, get the automatic braking. But for me personally, no, it's intrusive and I don't want it.
Yeah, because you've got to set your spacing distance and all that stuff, and it's never where I want to be. Because, if it just depends on the traffic, as to what you're going to space out. Because out on Interstate 10 in particular, if you leave it way out there, you're going to have people cutting you off.
Oh, yeah. And then
they're
you're gonna be
they're not
braking.
cutting you off. They're moving over in your lane, and it's picking it up, and it's slowing you
And
down.
then it slams the brakes on or does something funky. I'm out. I'm good. All right. Thank you very much. I can't wait to see that edit. You're listening to the All Things Automotive Show in real time. And still ahead, we've got Conrad's Car Clinic, the events calendar, car headlines, news. It's all coming right up.
There's no greater pain a parent can suffer than losing a child. And yet, heat stroke deaths in hot cars are on the rise. The temperature inside a vehicle can reach deadly levels in just a few minutes. Leaving windows cracked does not help. These preventable deaths can occur even when the outside temperature is as low as 57 degrees. Never leave your baby or child in a vehicle, even for a short period. And always check the back seat before you get out of the car. Where's baby? Look before you lock. Paid for by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
A social distancing tip.
Putting distance between yourself and others is critical to slowing the spread of coronavirus. So here are ways to stay in contact without the physical contact part. Call, send a text, set up a video conference, post on social media, dedicate a song on the radio. If you have symptoms of fever, dry cough, and shortness of breath, call your healthcare provider before going to their office. For more info, visit coronavirus.gov.
Let's all do our part because we're all #AloneTogether. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
A xylophone. There was always that one weirdo in school that played the xylophone. Did you play the xylophone?
Like you said, that one weirdo in school. It was Jeff Zekin.
Jeff Zekin was the weirdo that played the xylophone.
And it needs more cowbell.
And that was Zekin. Oh, my God, yes, it was Zekin. Oh,
Did you
my.
dance the way Will Ferrell did with the cowbell? Okay, let's see. Yeah, I'm glad. Hopefully they didn't pick that up.
Time now for the events calendar, and Conrad's got that.
Okay, so this afternoon at 2 o'clock is the Lone Star Drift Series at Motorsports Resort, and that's where Richard Tomlin was, as they're getting set up to do some drifting down there at Motorsports Resort. At 3 p.m., the Brazos Town Center Car Show in Rosenberg. 6 p.m., the Kema Car Show and Meet down in Kema, of course. At 7 p.m., Coffee and Cars in Beaumont.
Yay!
So Mars has got something out there to go to.
Are you actually going to go to that?
No.
Oh, well, never mind.
Do you ever go to any car events over there in your
Becky
hometown?
doesn't let him.
When I can. Yeah, when I can.
How often is that? Maybe once a year?
No. There's a deal at Office Depot on a Saturday night, first Saturday of the month. I can usually make that.
I want
Do you go?
Yeah.
I want to reclaim my time. Sorry, I couldn't resist. At 8 a.m. tomorrow morning,
You know when
Chase
it's
Cormier
it's bad.
benefit-
You know it's bad when you start laughing at your own damn jokes.
Hey, I'm the only one who will. At 8 a.m. tomorrow morning is the Chase Cormier benefit ride in Stafford. Meet up at Republic Harley Davidson. They're going to be providing breakfast tacos. It's $25 a head, and all the funds go to Chase Cormier's healthcare fund. 3 p.m. tomorrow, the Houston Head Turners at Bombshells on 59. At 4 p.m., the All-American Muscle at Kroger's on 99 in Spring. Sunday night is Freddy's on 1960 in Eldridge, and that starts at 6 p.m. Wednesday night is Freddy's in Katy. Friday night is Freddy's at Kirkendall in 2920. And kind of a point to make, because I follow Houston Car Meets and Cruises on Facebook with Joseph Pledger, and we have had 1,000 car meets and cruises in Houston this week.
Wow.
So even though we've had Corona, we're still having fun. We're still having fun.
All right. Hey, you got a question or comment? Shoot us an email. info@inwheeltime.com. InWheelTime Car Show will be right back. We think.
Do you know what teens just love? Not being told what you're supposed to love. That's not anyone's business but yours. It doesn't matter what you love, but if you love it, click it. That includes you too. Because in 2018, 42% of Texas teens who died in traffic crashes were not wearing their seatbelts. Make sure everyone is buckled up. Every rider, every ride. Brought to you by the Texas Department of Transportation.
Texas Truck Works is your go-to truck customizer. From mild to wild lift kits, custom wheels, and steering and handling enhancements to the best personal and commercial wraps, Texas Truck Works delivers. Let Texas Truck Works founder Scott Stevens help you get the most out of your truck or Jeep. Texas Truck Works has decades of customizing experience, including power adders and complete engine swaps. Let the Texas Truck Works team design an upgrade plan that fits your budget. Get truck attitude today at TexasTruckWorks.com.
It's In Real Time, your weekly award-winning live car talk show. Just ahead, Conrad's Car Clinic, the events calendar, today's auto news. Just ahead in this segment of the In Real Time Car Show, along with Mike out of this world Mars over there, praying that we can get finished with this half hour without the police knocking on the door and saying, you guys are going to jail. And King Conrad DeLong, I'm Don Armstrong. Glad you could join us today. We had a guest that kind of bailed out at the last minute on it. We weren't really quite sure, and I had this brilliant idea. I thought, we were supposed to have Angelica Brothers on last week, and because of some technical issues, we couldn't do that.
Mars.
But I thought, oh, wait a minute. We've got hurricanes a-coming. And all I could think of was the absolute horrible things that happened during Harvey. Now, we're not going, this is not supposed to be a Harvey event coming up on Tuesday. However,
be prepared.
I will never forget, I went over to Greg Ender's shop. This was after Harvey. And in there was what was an absolutely original, beautiful, my car, 1969 Z28 Camaro done in the dark green with the black stripes with the original 302 engine in it. It had the original interior in it. It was pristine. Somebody had taken care of one for a Survivor. Well, guess what? Over the roof, underwater, ruined the entire car. Now, since then, they have put the car back together, but
it's not the same.
It's not original any longer. And I thought, I happen to know somebody that might be able to give us some information about car insurance and find out whether or not it is too late to get car insurance for cars like that. And her name is Angelica Brothers, and she is with Hagerty. Now, we put up her picture, but we're going to hear her voice, and there she is right there. Hi, Angelica.
Hi.
It's good.
Can you hear me today?
Yes, we can hear you today. It is a miracle of electronic. It's unbelievable.
I love it.
Yeah, well, we all do too.
Old guy technology rules.
So we called her at the last minute, and she says, "Oh my gosh, I'm going to my son's baseball game, and you cannot put my picture on because apparently it's baseball cap." Yeah, well, we're not. But we have a nice picture of you up there, and so we're just going to listen to your audio.
Well, thank you.
Yes, you're very welcome. Well, thank you for doing this last second for us. So you heard the story that I just told, and
Yes.
this would have been one of those kind of cars that would be under your wing at Hagerty Insurance, a
Correct.
69 Camaro Z28. And so tell us a little bit about, first of all, is it too late today to get car insurance for my 69 Camaro Z28?
Let's start with the bad news.
Okay.
Yes, it is too late.
Why is it too late?
Pretty much all insurance companies will suspend writing new business or even do an endorsement. So let's say you have a car that only has liability and you get this great idea to put full coverage on it because the hurricane's coming. You can't do that. You can't buy a new policy as soon as they get wind that the weather is going to be bad. They say no more new business.
Okay,
So
well,
at
that's
this
good to know.
point,
A little pun
it's too
there,
late.
wind of
Yes.
the weather.
Well, and then the reason that I say that it's good to know, because if you've got a car like that, you've got, let's see, the rest of today, you've got Sunday, and you've got most of Monday to get the car out of town and into your safe spot, wherever that may be. And let me just say this about safe spots. And safe is, of course, a relative thing.
Right.
But if you work at a building, say, for instance, they've got a parking garage, a concrete parking garage. Park it up on the third floor where they've got security.
Behind a corner somewhere.
Sure.
So, yeah.
But it beats the heck.
Yeah, get
whatever
creative.
happens in that garage beats the heck out of having it
But the
over the
thing-
roof in water.
The thing Angela's talking about is Hagerty's not going to compensate for your poor planning.
Well, that's
Plan
true.
further
That's
up
it.
Oh,
ahead.
and that's not just Hagerty; it's all of them.
Right.
No,
because they don't want you to insure it just for 2 weeks because the storm's coming and then drop the insurance
Well,
afterwards
it's
as well.
not only that. I mean, they've got to worry about the return on their investment and stuff. But like, I didn't know about cars, but I knew houses. There's some people that are supposed to close on a new beach house down in Crystal Beach Monday.
Oh, nice timing.
Well, they can't buy insurance once that storm is into the Gulf of Mexico. That's when the mortgage companies cut it
I
off.
think I'd delay buying it.
Well, that's what they're going to try and do. They're going to try and do that, but they literally you can't buy house insurance. So it's good to know cars are very similar.
But the cost of collector car insurance really isn't that bad.
Bad? It's great.
I was going to say, because I've got the Rally insured with Hagerty, and I pay less than $500 a year to have that car insured at an agreed upon value. So why wait? Just get your car insured and keep it insured. If you really value it that much, don't hesitate. After the storm passes, go ahead and get yourself insured.
So, Angelica, tell us about Hagerty and what makes Hagerty different than, say, Allstate or State Farm or AAA.
You mentioned Harvey a little earlier, and
Yes.
I'll tell you something that I love sharing with people. I met, and this is what makes it different. I met so many people after Harvey who had project cars in the garage. They had no idea that they could get insurance because they thought it's not drivable. No insurance company's going to take it. And all the investment and all the hard work they had put into it, it was all lost.
Yes.
Because it got flooded, it's gone. You lose everything.
And that's
So
that's one of that's what makes part of what makes Hagerty
hard. Yes,
because you can insure your project car. It might not have wheels on it. It might not have the engine in it. It might not have an interior in it. It's not drivable, but it is insurable.
And also, if I'm correct, Angelica, is in that project car insurance, you can include the tools that you have within that, correct?
You can include tools, you can include parts, and then after it's done, and you still have it agreed upon value, like you mentioned, Conrad. And once the car is done, or if it's done, you can get that agreed value on your car.
Yeah, because
so
once
we're not going to be.
Yeah, because once it's done, the value's increased quite a bit.
Yes, exactly. And if you don't have a project car and you're safe this time around, as soon as the suspension is lifted, give me a call and I can help you put insurance on that car.
So So how does it work? Let's just say, for instance, that I was unable to save my car. The garage had 2 or 3 feet of water in it, but I'm insured. How is it going to work when I need to collect from the insurance company, from Hagerty?
From Hagerty specifically?
Yes.
We are so easy to work with. And again, I'll mention Harvey again because it was the first year that I started working for Hagerty. And again, so many people came up to me after and said, you guys were the first check that I got. I got a check from you within 2 days after filing my claim. So we take care of it immediately. We knew specifically during Harvey that we probably couldn't get to a lot of the cars because of the circumstances. So we were just going for it and sending you a check right away to help you get started. And that's how it works with us anyway. We try to have a turnaround
and
24 to 48 hours for most claims.
Right. And not only covering cars, we were talking to Richard Tomlin a little bit earlier down at Motorsports Resort. You guys also have track day insurance. So if they're down there on and they bring their vehicle to a track, you have like a ride or 1 day policy or a couple of day policy just to cover that same vehicle while it's at the track. Am I correct?
That's right. And it's also agreed value. And it's for most tracks and most track events, and you can buy it for the day, you can buy it for the weekend if it's a whole weekend event.
Yeah,
the price is pretty reasonable considering that you had no other coverage if you don't buy it. So
yeah,
it's a good deal.
That's true. The major insurance carriers aren't going to cover squat at the track, and it's nice that Hagerty offers that to your customers.
Yeah. So let me ask you. Let me ask you another question regarding this kind of coverage that makes Hagerty different. You don't write policies personally, do you, for Hagerty?
I don't, but I handle the whole process.
Right. So how and I think that when you and I worked together when I had the old in-wheel time machine, the '66 Corvair, that I went through Allstate to get that policy.
Yes. So you can either go through me, so that will be a direct policy through Hagerty, or you can talk to your Allstate agent, your farmer's agent, nationwide. We have many, many agents that we work through. If you work through an independent agent, most of them are appointed with us, so they can handle that Hagerty policy for you. That way, if you have everything under one umbrella, just add that Hagerty policy on there and they can handle it.
Yeah, that way you're still dealing with a single agent if that's the way you want to do it.
Right. But is there any kind of a financial advantage or disadvantage by going through your agent to get my Hagerty insurance?
Not at all. So we will offer you the same exact price whether you go directly through Hagerty or if you go through your agent.
See, that's good because I like dealing with one person for my car, my house, everything.
Right.
I have a question.
I mean, we have, sure.
I have a question. If I've lost a vehicle to a flood that was parked in my garage, and that's where my rally's parked in my garage, and that's kind of part of my policy is that it's parked in my garage. If I move that car somewhere else because I know my garage is prone to flooding when we get 52 inches in 36 hours, am I still going to be covered if I bring it someplace else just to try and protect it from flood damage?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. Because part of like what you said as part of the underwriting is asking where do you usually keep your car? Are you keeping it safe? And we know that collectors do a fantastic job of keeping their car safe. And if you have to take preventative measures to make sure that it stays safe, that's perfectly fine. You know, not all claims are going to happen at your house anyway. So we completely understand that. And
in fact, I would think you'd kind of
taking it to a safer place is covered. Yes. Yes. And we even have, again, it's too late to add this to your policy, but we have something called evacuation coverage, which is an endorsement on your policy. And it actually covers any expenses that you have to make to move your car. So if you have to have it towed somewhere to make sure that it's safe, if you have to pay for storage somewhere, we would cover that
that's
for
cool.
you.
Well, that's
I could see that. You know, you could move it out of your garage and move it to a storage
move it to
facility.
higher ground.
Yeah, someplace else. And have a record to it if you can't get it done. That'd be cool.
Yeah. All right. So any recommend?
It's cheap too, so look into that.
All right. So where do we find out? You know, you are the insurance queen, and I am the nothing king.
Well, thank you.
And I know nothing about insurance, and I depend on you to guide me through. And I guess that there would be some homework that I would probably behoove myself if I did that. Do a little bit of homework on Hagerty.com, and so I could get some sort of an idea. And you have a tool on there that I can input my car and get an idea of how much it's going to cost.
That's exactly right. And we gather a lot of information from different places. We attend auctions. We keep track of private sales as much as we can, dealer sales, just to make sure that we're keeping up with that market value on all the collector vehicles. So more than likely, you put the information about your car in there, or maybe a car that you're thinking about buying, and you're going to find out what the historical values have been. It's a really neat tool. So if you get a chance to go and play around with it, just Google Hagerty valuation, and you'll get right to it.
And if you go to any major car shows in the Houston area, chances are you're going to see Angelica. Go up to her, tell her hi, and tell her that you heard her on the In Wheel Time show. Angelica, we love you. Thank you so much for the last minute heads
Love
up.
you too.
Yeah, and you guys take care and be safe for this next week here.
You too.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Angelica Brothers with Hagerty. All right. Time for a quick break. In Wheel Time Car Show streams on Facebook, YouTube, and InWheelTime.com. We are all things automotive. Join our live broadcast every Saturday, 10 a.m. to noon Central. Conrad has the Car Clinic next on In Wheel Time.
Dude, you may want to slow down. There's a cop car up there. Hey, man, there's another cop. I'd think about putting your seatbelt on if I were you. And if you could sober up in less than 5 seconds, that'd be cool too.
As America gets back on the road, a lot of things have changed, but not the need for drivers to be safe. Cops are enforcing traffic safety laws in our community to save lives. Paid for by NHTSA.
Hey, if you'd like to get in touch with us anytime during the week, too, shoot us an email. The address is info@inwheeltime.com. George Skelton has our address, and he uses it quite frequently.
Yes, he does.
And we love him for that. And George is a longtime friend of mine. He and I went to grade school, junior high, and high school together.
And it was through that George introduced us to Betty Skelton, and we had an opportunity to do a whole show on Betty Skelton a couple of months ago.
And it was great.
Go check us out on the podcast. It was a great show.
Time now for Conrad's Car Clinic, and this week we're talking about power steering. And now, not only do we have hydraulic power steering, we got electric power steering.
Well, and
I'm not exactly sure how that works.
And for you, we used to have Armstrong power steering.
That's exactly right, and I've had lots of those cars.
And if you go back in those days, you know...
The Corvair didn't have power steering.
But the steering wheel was huge. They were 18-inch steering wheels.
You had to crank on it.
Do you know why? Because the 18-inch steering wheel gave you better leverage to turn a non-power steering car. And then, you know, probably about the mid-'60s, pretty much everything's had hydraulic power steering. And that's where you can kind of come into some weird, funky noises in your car. You know, you get these squeals or these rattles or these squeaks and stuff that your power steering system tells you, hey, it's time to bring it in and get somebody to look at it, because if you don't deal with that whining noise, it may grow into something else. And by that whining noise, I'm not talking about the person sitting in the passenger side. Don't go there.
Or the co-anchor sitting next to you.
You know, like most steering systems on the vehicles, the power steering system requires a special fluid to keep it functioning smooth. And that fluid can get compromised over time through just debris that builds up in there. The fluid gets old and it gets oxidized, or some water intrusion.
It turns black and ugly.
Turns black and ugly, or it can turn milky if it gets some kind of moisture inside of it. And that's when you need to change the fluid. And like all fluids in your vehicle, you need to change them with some frequency. But I'm going to tell you, today's cars, probably less than 50% of them have a hydraulic power steering system on it.
Less than 50?
Less than, yeah, easily less than 50. The cars that they're building today, I'm going to say a vast majority of them have an electronic power steering system.
How does that work?
Different ways is how it works. Some of them use a magnetic system that helps you when you turn the wheel to assist you in turning the wheels. Kind of the magnets kind of pull the wheel with you. Some of them use servos and electric motors that help you turn the wheel. And some of them use an electric motor that drives a hydraulic pump, and you still have a hydraulic power steering system. The benefit of that is they took the pulley off the engine and they drive it with an electric pump, and that way you're not dragging down the fuel economy because you're trying to drive the power steering pump.
You're dragging down the battery instead.
Well, when you're running on the alternator. You're not really running on the battery. So they all do it a little bit different, but if the current electronic power steering systems are actually going to set a check engine light if there's an issue with it. So it'll turn that little check engine light on your dash because it's reading.
You mean the little yellow teapot?
The little yellow teapot.
I thought that was the oil light.
No, you're right. That is the oil light. The MIL, malfunction indicator lamp, and some of them do it different ways. But yeah, it'll be a yellow light on.
The teapot. I heard that the other day. I thought, are you kidding me? The lady calls it a teapot on the dashboard.
And if it's on yellow, you can continue to drive. If it's flashing yellow, find a quick place to stop and get the vehicle towed in. That flash is saying, hey, there's something big or wrong, and we don't want it to get worse. And then you go to the complex systems like the Infinity, where when you're driving the vehicle, the steering is totally steer-by-wire. That there is no connection between the steering wheel and the front suspension.
Kind of like the accelerator.
Exactly. So, and that's where it comes. You were talking a little bit earlier how they can tune the system, the power steering system. Well, they can tune these electronic ones for more or less feedback. Now, on the Infinity system, if all fails, the electronics fail, and it goes back to a manual connection there, so that opening closes up. Yeah, but if your power steering system's making noise or if it's becoming stiff, take it to a professional, let them look at it, let them do something about it. On the hydraulic ones, if you keep the fluid changed on a regular interval, highly probable you won't have any problems with it at all.
Okay, well, thank you, sir. This reminder, if you belong to a car, truck, or Jeep club, we love to feature your group here on the In Wheel Time Car Show. Just send us the info and the contact information, of course, to info@inwheeltime.com. No, we do not sell any of that stuff. We'll put you in touch with whoever you need to be in touch with, and we'll put your bunch in our car club spotlight. Do you have an events calendar?
We already did events.
Oh, we did?
But that's okay. Yeah, I do have an events calendar, but I think we've already covered both events and calendar.
Oh, okay.
But the big thing is on the 5th of September is Houston Motorsports Park. I know Gina's listening, so I'll throw her another pitch here.
Yes.
Go out there at Houston Motorsports Park for the Advanced Auto Parts.
And I have to tell you, last Saturday
Labor
night
Day
was such a thrill for me. I had, for the first time, I got to drive the pace car.
There's videos of you driving the pace car.
And it was, because I'm listening to the race director, not Gina, but the guy that's actually calling the shots. And he tells me when to go. Okay, you need to speed up a little bit, go slower, collect the field.
And if you listen to one of the videos, you can hear Gina saying, "Who's talking to the pace car driver? Get him off the track."
Oh my God!
It was fun. It was funny. It was funny. Yeah, you got rookie stripes on the back of the pace car, 2 yellow stripes on the back bumper.
I don't anymore.
I watched some of the video though. You did a very, very good job. I bet you that Corvette had a blast doing that.
Yeah, the first question I asked was, how fast do I go?
How fast can you go?
No. How fast do I go to pace the field? How fast do you think I go?
50? 50,
I would
60
say
miles
30,
an hour?
30. For some reason, just 30 comes to mind.
Between 25 and 35, depending on the cars.
You're coming out of the turn in second gear.
No. Once I get out there and I'm pacing the field, I got to hold my speed steady.
No, I'm thinking about them and why they're doing that speed so that they can accelerate coming out of that turn.
Well, it's not that because the field once I get past a certain point on the track and the lights are out and next
need
time
to
by
get off the
I got to get off the track at a certain point. So I nail it and get off the track because listen, to have all that horsepower behind you and you can hear them and you can see them in the rear view mirror doing one of these, scrubbing the tires off.
Did you have fun?
I had an absolute blast.
That's cool. So, Gina, Don wants to do it again.
Yeah, I'm raising my hand for that every time. So, at any rate, not next Saturday, but the Saturday,
5th.
the 5th, Labor Day weekend, big race, Houston Motorsports Park on Saturday night. Be there at 6 o'clock. Racing starts at 7. We got more of the In Wheel Time show right after this.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
A social distancing tip.
While the CDC urges you to avoid close contact, like hugging or shaking hands, there are other non-physical ways to say hello. Wave, wink, use sign language, salute, smile, give the peace sign, throw up an air high five, do jazz hands. Remember, stay a minimum of 6 feet or 2 arms length away from others and stay home if you can. For more info, visit coronavirus.gov.
Let's all do our part because we're all hashtag alone together. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
He is
multi-talented.
A nerd.
I'm trying to reach out to my fan.
Yeah. Your fan.
Zeke, we need more Jeff, and this is my fan is Kathy Zekin.
Oh, my God. Couple of headlines I wanted to bring to your attention today on the In Wheel Time show. At Bollinger Motor, things are starting to move faster now. Suburban Detroit electric vehicle startup said Tuesday that it is in the process of doubling its staff and has opened a new headquarters and engineering center. Bollinger. Okay, nearly 5 times larger than the original building. CEO Robert Bollinger told Automotive News that the last 2 remaining hurdles, securing the investments to take the B1 utility, B2 pickup, and 2 electric chassis models from concept to production, and inking a deal with a contract manufacturer, are close to being resolved. Bollinger Motors. I know. Good luck.
So did you hear Mary Barra, the head of General Motors, her compensation for 2019 was $22 million? And I think GM lost market share.
That's just not right. Sorry.
I'm going to try and set up an interview with her.
Do
you can
that.
Ask her about that.
Yeah. Hey, Mary, so what are you going to do with that extra change in your pocket next week?
Well, and on top of that, Chevrolet has issued a stop sale on the Corvettes.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, because the frunk, F-R-O-N-K, the front trunk is popping open at speed and whacking the windshield.
Oh, that's not good.
Not a good day.
And speaking of GM may be adding the GMC Sierra Swiss Army knife of a tailgate to the Chevy Silverado lineup. GMTrucks.com reports. Tailgate, which GM Trucks says will be called Multi-Flex, would mirror the popular Multi-Pro tailgate offered on the GMC Sierra. We knew that was coming. More than 70% of Sierra 1500 and 85% of Sierra heavy-duty pickups sold this year were equipped with GMC's Multi-Pro tailgate. Multi-Pro tailgate standard on the SLT, AT4, and the Denali trims. And it's expensive, too. It's not cheap.
No, but as they make the trucks taller from the ground, I mean, the taller tires and wheels, the side beds are taller, it's harder to get stuff out of there. You got to be able to get up in there.
And I'd be wrong if I didn't mention that President Trump on Wednesday called for a boycott of Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company, accused the Ohio-based company of playing politics by forbidding workers from donning the Make America Great Again caps favored by his supporters.
Or Blue Lives Matter.
He said it was disgraceful that the company would prevent employees from wearing attire supporting Blue Lives Matter. That supports law enforcement while allowing support for other causes, which he described as Marxist in nature. So there's that.
Toyota is still in a class action lawsuit over using soy-based wire insulation. Remember, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
So that class action lawsuit is moving along according to a recent Ninth Circuit ruling in California.
Well, maybe that's what the squirrels like underneath my hood.
Well, that's very possible. But, yeah, Toyota's going to pay out a lot of money on that deal.
Yikes. Well, that is just plain ugly any way you look at it. Well, you know what that sound is? It's the end of the show.
We made it.
It's a miracle.
Thanks, George.
True.
Thanks, George.
Thank you. Yeah, it is. Thank you. Well, that is it for today's In Wheel Time Car Show. Hey, when you're on Facebook, please give us a like. You'll get Conrad's unicorn hunting features there, along with all things automotive. If you missed a show or even a little chunk of it, you can find it online. Our website is inwheeltime.com and YouTube. Podcasts of the show can be had through Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, iHeart Podcasts, TuneIn, Google Podcast, and Podcast Addict, among others. The In Wheel Time Chief Engineer, David Ainsley, thanks for coming by and fixing all of our stuff this week. Our Video Technical Director and Sales Expert, Jeffrey Thumbs Zekin. Thank you, sir. Special thanks to all of our guests today. For Mike Out of This World Bars and King Conrad DeLong, I'm Don Armstrong. Thank you for following the In Wheel Time Car Show. Be sure to catch our show online each and every Saturday, 10 a.m. to noon Central Time on Facebook, YouTube, and InWheelTime.com. We'll see you then, and you may now put your clothes back on.
Okay.